Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 2 for some, day 5 for others. Um, but welcome to High Point Market. Welcome to Universal Furniture. You are in the Learning Center. We've hosted a number of events here already. We have 3 or 4 today, and I think 3 or 4 tomorrow. Total of 14 in all. We do record all of these, so if you have registered for one or if you had to step out, we record all these, and if Dalton does his job back there and gets these edited, we'll have those available in about 2 weeks. So if you registered with us, we will send an email out when those are ready. If you go to the same page, universalfurniture.com/market events, that's where we post them all, and then they'll also be on our YouTube. So give us about 2 weeks just to get that edited. So my name is Neil McKenzie. I'm the Senior Vice President of Marketing here. Our space is massive. If you've never been into Universal, welcome. If you're back again, excited to have you. We have a major new introduction on floor 3 called Modern, so please be sure to check that out. It's about 185 SKUs, some really cool materials. On floor 2, we have some really nice in-stock looks from a variety of our collections. And then on the first floor, the ground floor that you're on, we showcase all of our special ordering offering. You can kind of learn more about the fabric options, cushion construction, different frames, and all of those shipped directly out of Conover, North Carolina in about 6 to 8 weeks from a lead time standpoint. We also have a new dining chair program, so you want to check that out. And then we also have the Designer's Lounge downstairs. So there's some fun swag, some libations, and some fun kind of giveaway things happening there. So be sure to check that out. There's also the beauty bar, and there's walk-in appointments available from, I believe, 5 to 6 if you need a hair touch-up. So with all that, I'm going to turn it over to Gail and Aaron. We're so excited to have you guys back. And yeah, thank you all for being here. So anyway, have a great day. Thanks.
Thanks, Neil. He is always so amazing. Thank you so much for hosting us all. It's our pleasure to be here today, and I have some great friends that are on the panel today, and I am so excited to share with you whatever we can to help you in your business. How many are new to business, or like in the last under 5 years? Okay, quite a few of you. How many of you are 5 to 10 years? Okay, and how many of you are more than 10 years? Oh, wow. It's like about a third of each. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what real designers do to win a business. And it is a changing world for sure. And I want to start first with introducing my partner in crime, Erin Weir. She and I are the co-founders of Pearl Collective. We just rebranded last year. And we really focus on what we can do to help designers make more money, scale their businesses, and have more fun doing it. So a little bit about Erin. She and I have worked together over 18 years, and she started with me as an intern in my design business and has worked her way up and is now in charge of all marketing and revenue for our business. So she has a really important job, but most importantly, she's a mom, a very busy mom with a teenager and a little preteen. And I think that's an important part that we have to remember is a lot of us are probably, I'm not a mom, but a lot of moms in the room. And it is possible to run a great business and be a mom as well. So I'm not going to share a whole lot more about Erin, and I will turn it over to her.
Yeah, so I get to introduce Gail. And I have to just tell you that yesterday I missed a football game and my son made a touchdown. So we're celebrating. I can't wait to get home for that. So Gail has been my mentor for the last 18 years, and she is a best-selling author and a speaker. If you haven't gotten your hands on her book yet, it's called Creative Value Blueprint. I should know this, right? Your creative value blueprint to make a business breakthrough, your creative value blueprint to make more money. So she's been in the industry for over 20 years. We do have a keynote this afternoon over at the Hall of Fame. It's just Gail only at 2:00. At the Home Furnishings Hall of Fame building, and we'd love to have you come hear more of her story. So, Gail, do you want to talk a little bit more about what we're talking about today?
Sure. So today we want to open up for questions toward the end, and certainly we've got some to start with, but we're going to talk a little bit about the economy. We're going to talk about getting business and all of the things it takes to really be successful at the business. So anything beyond that, you're welcome to ask us questions. And of course, we're going to try to keep this right at an hour, and then we'll be out in the hallway afterwards if you have other questions.
Okay, so we've got Cheryl Luckett here with us today. After a 15-year career in corporate America, As a registered dietitian and human resources professional, Cheryl launched Dwell by Cheryl Interiors, and the venture began with a weekly blog chronicling her own home improvement projects, and that quickly morphed into a side hustle, decorating homes. After 5 years and a carefully executed exit strategy, at the end of 2016, she made the decision to leave corporate life behind and make her design her full-time career. Based in Charlotte, North Carolina, Dwell by Cheryl Interiors works to create classic, colorful, cultured, and cozy homes for its clients. In 2018, Cheryl launched her first licensed collection, Belle by Cheryl Luckett, an upholstered furniture line with North Carolina-based Sylvester Alexander. And then more recently, she introduced her third product line with Revolution Performance Fabrics. Cheryl and her work have been published in HGTV Magazine, Southern Living, Southern Home, Traditional Home, and Country Living, just to name a few. So Cheryl, how has the economy and the mindset of your clients affected your business? And what are you doing to keep that pipeline full right now?
So, this has been an interesting year. I think we, for so long, had our heads down in the work, inundated, tired, overworked. And now we're starting to kind of look up. And I know for me, this is the first time going into a new year that we don't have an overflowing pipeline. Not panic button time, but you're just like, this time last year, we had lots of people in the inbox. There's that kind of slowdown. I don't know that we've necessarily experienced it from our current clientele, but definitely the types of leads that we're getting, we're paying more attention to who those people are. Maybe they don't meet our minimum for full service design, but what are they asking for? And because there's not that overflow, we're starting to think, what are they asking for? Do we want to offer it? And if we do, how? So that's been a conversation we've not had to have. We didn't have to have that conversation in 2020, 2021. It was like, nah, no thanks. Because you had so many options, but now there's been this perspective shift, and it is something that we are actively talking about. My team recently sat in on Toby Fairley offered a revenue streams workshop. We signed up for it, and it was just to kind of her talking through different options for things that you can do, just a different perspective to have. Services that maybe you offered at a time when you were less busy, do you need to revisit them? So I think we just have a new mindset, and we're a little bit more open to being flexible in terms of the services that we're delivering.
Okay. So how about referrals? How many of your jobs are coming from referrals, and how do you ask for referrals? What percentage is that?
I'd say probably 75% of our business is either repeat business or referrals, but not referrals necessarily in the way that you would think. So I've just never been the referral card. Do you have any friends that need their homes? That just doesn't work for me. However, there is this gospel song that says, let the work that I do speak for me. That's kind of how I want to approach it. Some of our best referrals, the biggest client I've ever had came from a referral from a professor in design school. And, obviously the professor knew I was a good student years ago, but I also share a lot on social. So he sees, she's really professional and approaching this the way it should be done. And so when this person that they knew needed a designer, he referred them to me, and I got the job, and it's the biggest one I've had to date. So whether it's the trades, the vendors, the workroom, the client, the whoever, I want to have interaction with them that leaves them thinking, gosh, they really did that well, or they were so respectful or so organized that when someone needs a designer, I'm top of mind.
And how about referral partners? People that are in the industry. You mentioned your teacher, but who else refers you?
Vendors that we use, definitely. We've started actually to be a little bit more strategic about reaching out to builders specifically. I've had a call last week with one that we admire in our area and set up a call and, put together a nice deck and talk to them about this is the services that we offer. This is how we approach our business. These are the systems that we use. This is who we are. This is our aesthetic. Most importantly, this is who we serve. So should you run into any of those people, we'd love for you to send them our way. And we had this, it was a mutual conversation where they told me a lot about who they serve. So that there is now that synchronicity. And if I come to someone who needs a builder or contractor, I can refer people to them and then vice versa.
Yeah,
I'm going to interrupt for just a minute because I want to
Sure.
make sure we can hear from Tina and I
Absolutely.
can get her introduced. Hello. So let me introduce Tina for just a minute and then we'll get more back into referrals. So Tina Ramchadani Creative, TRC, designs warm, modern interiors that fully capture our clients' polished lifestyles. Tina's passion is soulful minimalism and allows her clients to experience life surrounded by the things that matter so they can focus on the people that matter. Tina has appreciation for amazing travel experiences and gorgeous design discoveries from her work and her spirit. And she's been nationally recognized by publications including Elle Decor, The Wall Street Journal, Architectural Digest, Cottages and Gardens. You've got a long list here. And she was a host on season 1 of Magnolia Network's Rooms We Love and named 2018's Next Wave Designer by House Beautiful, a star on the rise by D&D Building in New York, and was awarded the Innovation Design by Cottages and Gardens. So TRC is based in Manhattan, where Tina leads her team of talented designers and also happens to be the city where she lives with her husband, Ajay, and her spunky dog, Figaro. So, Tina, I'd love to hear a little bit about how the economy and the mindset of your clients has affected your business and what you're doing to keep that pipeline full. And then we can circle back around to that referral
I
conversation.
was fully listening to
I know.
all of the answers. I think we're in a similar position. We're still, busy with what we have, but the leads are different than what we were experiencing before, and we do not have a robust pipeline for 2024 coming in. My current clients are not worried. The current clients that we've signed up with are still, excited to complete their homes, and they love what we're doing. I have had a couple potential clients that we've gotten pretty far in the discussion and then they've decided to pull back because they've heard through their work or whatever that they were not comfortable spending so much money. And so we are taking on a different caliber of projects. We don't have a minimum, but we do have, I guess, I don't know how to say this. Like, we want to complete a certain number of spaces, right? So it may not be a financial minimum, but I want to make a difference. So we are saying, okay, instead of a whole house, maybe we'll do half the house, or we'll do like a core number of rooms to make them feel like they're excited about their home. And then we can move on to phase 2. So we are adjusting what we're taking on. And we signed a client yesterday. So I was very excited. I'm here at Market and, so I'm trying to stay positive because I think that when you're positive, and I've learned all this from Gail, that when you're positive, all the great things are going to come. So, yeah.
Okay. And how about referrals? How many referrals do you get as a percentage of your business, and how do you get them or ask for them?
I think that 50% of our work is probably referrals. Some, repeat clients, some through realtors or architects. I don't ask for referrals, but I do let everybody know that we are open for business, and I think part of my personality is just to talk a lot, which everybody knows. So I talk to everybody that I meet and I just let them know that I'm really excited about what we're working on, but we have space for more people. And I think people like to refer people that they enjoy. I do the same thing. If I love what somebody did for me, I will refer them. So that's sort of how it's come about.
How about referrals from other people in the industry? Maybe some of your vendors. Do you get those as
Yes,
well?
we've
Okay.
gotten referrals, again, architects, realtors, but I've also gotten referrals from a PR person who's not my PR person, but we had a great conversation and then she referred me to her friend and we finished their home a few years ago. So yeah, I think it is that though, just letting people know that you're open and you're ready to take on other things. And I always say to people, like, don't think that I'm not going to be able to do the work because I can do X, right? I'll have every conversation. And if it doesn't work for me, I'll refer one of my friends. So I think that's helped.
That's great. Well, I think the referral thing, a lot of people are scared of asking for referrals or setting it up. And I think it's a good idea to set it up at the beginning. And if, for example, when you're signing a contract with a client, just say at some point during this process, you're probably going to be really happy. And if it's okay, I'd like to remind you, we'd love to work with other people like you. And it doesn't have to be anything scary. And then later you get that opportunity. You've already set it up. So why not?
I do it off the cuff too, right?
Yeah.
We'll be in a cab going to a showroom and I'll be like, oh, we can take on clients in January.
Yeah.
And then they start thinking.
Mhm. Yeah. So don't be shy about it because that is a great way to get business. And certainly there are other ways to get business too, but if it's a warm lead like that, it's always the best. So back to you, Erin.
Yeah, well, and Cheryl, I love the fact that you are letting your referral partners know who you serve, right? So that you're giving them what your ideal client is. So when they see that, they think of you, right? So let's talk a little bit about your clients' mindset. Have their mindsets been in the financial ditch a little bit lately, and how is that affecting your relationship and your business with them?
I don't know that I'd go as far to say it's been in the financial ditch, but
I know that was
but I do think they're being a little bit more mindful. Like Tina said, they are thinking about, it's not like they're not improving their homes or not renovating or, not building, but maybe taking on a little bit less just to be a little bit more conservative. The past couple of years, it's like, whatever. Yeah, let's do it all, blow it all up. We're home. We're not going anywhere. So now I think it's more like, let's pump the brakes. We've decided, we're viewing this. I had a client a couple of weeks ago, a new client, say, we're viewing this as a long-term relationship with you. We would like to address this area in phase 1 of a project, fully intending that phase 2 will be that this, and this. So I think it's that may not have been the case a couple of years ago. Now it's like, let's kind of see what happens. Let's be a little cautious. And that's okay with us. Yeah.
What about the budgets? How are the budgets being affected?
I think that's direct. That's how the budget is
Yeah,
being.
okay.
So instead of they're still doing the work. I don't know that they're decreasing the budget, but they are taking on less at one time, which obviously has a direct impact on the budget.
Got it. What about you, Tina?
I have the same answer. But I think that's the point, right? They know what it costs, or we're educating them about what it costs. So they can't spend less because they have these desires. So they're just deciding, where are we putting our money today versus where are we putting our money next quarter or next year?
Okay. Gail, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah. So what are you doing to market right now, especially for next year to start building that pipeline? Has anything changed?
I'm marketing every day. Every day.
More.
Yeah.
More and more.
And I think this is when you keep your foot on the gas, because the natural tendency is, business is slowing down. Oh, maybe I pull this. Let's cut that. Marketing is definitely not where I want to be, trimming things. I think you have to stay visible and vigilant in every way possible, especially now. So, showing up, doing all the things is important, especially when people are a little bit less likely to pull the trigger.
Yeah. And we've seen some people that I've talked to people in some of the markets that are affected are New York, but New York and LA and San Francisco, people have seen their projects have stopped. People have actually put a pause completely on the projects for 6 months or a year, or they've just stopped them completely. So have you had that happen lately?
I did have someone not go forward.
Okay.
We were very far into contract stage. I had sent out the contract and they said, we're really scared. But then they came back to me a couple of months later and said, we can't do the whole thing. Can we do this great room, which was like 3 areas in one? And I said, yeah, okay, we'll start with that. So yes, 100% I have seen it. But I think at the end, these people that are hiring us still need the work to be done. So then they need to think, I'm not pushy, They think about it and then they say, okay, we'd like to do a little bit. And it eventually will do the whole place.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too that that also impacts decisions that you make about your business.
Yeah.
And how hiring, of course, that affects that as well. And have you made changes according to what's happening right now, or at least your concerns about it?
Yeah. I mean, we were going to hire a senior designer. I'm looking at Ken because we were looking actively to hire. And when I felt the slowdown, I said, we need to pause, because I don't want to hire someone and we don't have work and then money is going out the door. So yes, I'm always looking at it. So you have to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're in such an expensive market. You just got in your office last year, so that was a big
Fun.
investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Well, one other thing I wanted to add about marketing or keeping the pipeline full and getting creative about what you're offering, especially because maybe you have a little bit more capacity than you did, than you have in a while. One of the things that we've done is we've circled back to some of our favorite clients. We've been on. I'm still growing, and with that growth means that you leave some of your people behind, and that's always something that I kind of struggle with. But it's just a growing pain, right? You can't serve everybody, and your ideal client gets more and more refined the longer you're in business. But because we now have a little bit more capacity, we're like, who are those people that we really loved? Like we loved. And usually when you wrap up a project and they're all satisfied and happy and they're like, we're going to call you back for this room and that space. And so we've been a little bit proactive in this last quarter to say, hey, we know you've seen the growth that we've experienced and we've been so busy, but we wanted to circle back just to let you know that we're offering this special lower level service that our junior designer will take the lead on. We loved working with you. We don't know if you've addressed that area that you said you were going to delay. Now might be the time. And, being proactive in the ask is we think is going to pay off. And you cut, like, one of the challenges with working, at that lower level with new people is you have all the things that you have to go through with a new client. If you go back to your favorites, they love you. They were easy to work with. They were not a problem. They trust the process. Like, there's so many things you can cut out. It's just easy. That's easy peasy.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, they already know, like, and trust you, right? So you're already going back to people that are like, yeah, I want to drink more of the Cheryl Kool-Aid, right?
Absolutely.
What about you, Tina?
I was going to say definitely this, but during 2020, we had pivoted a little bit because we couldn't go into people's houses and we started offering virtual services. And then we got too busy. We couldn't do it anymore. So recently I have been telling people again that we are doing that. It's a quicker turnaround. You can buy it yourself. You're only paying for our design services. And I think people are really interested in that. So we're going back to people that maybe cannot anymore, like no longer afford this level of service that we have now. And we're saying to them, hey, if you want to finish that room and you want to do it yourself, you still get our look, but you get it for less because we're letting you shop on your own. So we're also doing like an accessory package that we'll do like an e-accessory package. So sharing these things with people is another way to kind of keep them in your family.
What are some other ways that you guys are marketing? I know that sometimes marketing can be a scary thing for people. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to have to be in front of people, right? And actually have the relationships and make that happen. Some people just want to turn to social media, which there's always a vein for that. So what are some of the things you guys are doing on social media and your other marketing efforts?
Well, I don't know. I might be an anomaly, but I built my business on social media. Coming from a corporate background, double dipping for 5 years, I had to navigate in order to grow while I had a whole other career. Social media was the place that I did that. And so it's always been a very big part of my business and my marketing. Lots of clients come from it directly or indirectly. Whether they found me on social or not, they're vetting me there. They're watching the videos, they're seeing if they like you. And so the continuing to show up is so important. I think we've realized, though, lately there's a direct correlation between what you put out and who you get. Of course, it probably always has been, but video has become so. I was on Instagram before everybody got there, like back in 2010, 11, when it was like 5 designers and you followed all 5 of them. But now like you have to kind of put out what you want to draw back in, and so you also need to tell the story of what you're offering. So before on my way up here, I had a conversation with a videographer about I need to double back to some of these projects that we photographed, because yes, a pretty picture is one thing and it's great and it goes far reaching, but a story behind the pretty picture is also a way to grab people. What's the functionality story? Yeah, you can write that in a caption, but how many people are actually going to read it? So being able to story tell with some of these projects, I think gives the client a little bit of a peek under the tent in terms of what you really do. We all make spaces really pretty and beautiful, but what were the obstacles you had to overcome? What is the space? How does the space now function as a result of you being there? So that's kind of how I'm thinking about marketing through social media, a little bit less about just, showing up and putting up my work up, but more about telling some of the stories of the work.
Is it just on Instagram? Are you doing TikTok? What else are you doing?
It is, I will say it is primarily on Instagram, although we've had conversations, my team and I, about TikTok. I haven't decided what I want to be on TikTok. It's a crowded space. I don't know. I want to be intentional. I want to begin with the end in mind, and I haven't quite figured. So if y'all have some suggestions on what I need to do on TikTok, do I want to be an educator on TikTok? Do I want I just want to be intentional about it, and I haven't quite figured that part out, but it's not off the table, and I think it's probably the next thing. Yeah.
How about you, Tina?
I'm a watcher on TikTok. I have not. I posted some of the Instagram reels on TikTok to kind of test it, but I'm not really active. I think it's too much work right now because I'm focusing on the marketing in other ways. I do get a lot of clients though through social media, and I don't quite know if they have found me on Instagram or vetted me on Instagram. So we're still very active on Instagram. We is me. I'm the only Instagrammer. It's a lot of work. But I find it to be helpful because people really get to know me, right? Like it's very like in the moment. I posted today, like I'm here again, very tired, but I'm doing it. So that is helpful. But then I'm definitely marketing offline. I can't rely fully on this. I think because of the level of spend and the level of investment that our clients have, I can't fully rely on social media or Instagram. So I'm meeting at least 2 or 3 times a week with a new person or maybe the same person just to remind them I'm alive. I'm going to events a couple times a week. I'm fully out there hustling, trying to make sure that people remember me.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. And how much time do you think you're spending every week?
I think you were telling me I'm supposed to be spending 10 hours.
Good job.
Thank you.
She listens.
Some weeks it's 10 hours, some weeks it's less, but I'm trying.
How about you, Cheryl?
I feel like I'm in
Put her on the spot.
Probably not 10 hours making personal connections, but we've not had to do this for a while. So the realization is hitting me that, okay, yes, like the builder reach out. So that same conversation I just had with the builder last week, I will be having several more times with different builders.
Yeah, just something to keep in mind. It takes up to 7 contacts with people for them to remember you, think about you, do all that work to build that relationship. And there are a couple of things I've heard over time. And one of those is if you don't have enough business, you don't have enough relationships. And I think that's a really powerful statement. And that means that you need to go meet more people and you need to put yourself out there. And what I see a lot of people going through, not these two, because they're aggressively doing this, but don't get shy about it. That should be one of the first things you work on. First thing in the morning is what can I do marketing wise to bring in more business? and make that a priority for yourself. Because if you just start looking at your cell phone and answering all the hot things that are coming in, then you're not working on your business first. So be sure and put your business as a priority so that you're bringing in those leads all the time. And the second thing that I just preached to everybody, sorry if I repeated this 100 times,
No, I
but
love it.
yeah, it's true though. But market the most when you're the busiest, because that's why you're doing that. You're filling the future pipeline. You cannot ever afford to not be marketing, but definitely double up when you're busy. So hopefully that's helpful. Back to you, Erin.
Well, I always love to talk about marketing, but I would love to talk a little bit about team and what's been going on with building your team, your current team in the last 12 months with these conditions, and what are you doing to keep them motivated and inspired and excited about working with you?
We're doing a lot of team building activities. They see that it's slowing down. I've reassured them that we have money and we're not going to close. But also, I let them know now when leads are coming in so that they can see that something's coming in. I think it's really hard. I've learned, and I think everyone's team is different, but my team really needs to know the why, which is something I learned from Erin. They need to know why we're doing something or what's sort of happening big picture. So I tell them, I got a lead and it's going to be this type of project. We may not get it, but then I sort of ask them for their input. I kind of keep them in the loop. And I think that helps, right? So then when we got this project yesterday and I sent everybody a Slack, they felt good because they were very involved in telling me how many hours they think we need. It's maybe too much information, but it's great. And then we're doing a lot of offsites. Like we're going next month to a couple of our favorite vendors in Connecticut. So, we're going to go and source and see things for the future. I think just keeping them, making sure that they know that I'm thinking about them is really helpful. And they all got raises.
Oh, there you go.
That kind of keeps them happy for a while.
Cheryl, what about you?
I think a few things. I think open communication is so important. Transparency. I have a super small team. There's 3 of us. So it's all hands on deck on everything. And so there is complete transparency. They actually filter the leads. We talk through them. Is this a project we want? I don't know. She kind of sounds like, we have those kinds of discussions because it is so small and tight knit. We also do a lot of team building. I do a big biannual, semi-annual strategy meeting where we go away, we shut it down, we tell the clients we will not be available, we're working on our business, we're trying to serve you better, but we look back 6 months and we look ahead 6 months at that meeting. That's usually 3 or 4 days and some fun place where we combine like celebrating our wins over the past 6 months and, relaxing and then like digging into processes and, is this still working? What are we adding for the next 6 months? That buy-in is so important. And I think we get that when we come up with collective solutions to obstacles. How is this not just going to impact me and my business's bottom line, but how is this going to impact you and what you do? And then the last thing is, I think, capitalizing on this white space that we haven't had in a very long time. So we've tightened up some systems. We've started implementing some new things that we're like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let's dig into that. Megan, you're on that. Can you research this and come back and tell us? And so we've made some big changes in the past 3 or 4 months because we had a little bit more capacity. So instead of being like, well, who came in today? It's like let's get ready because I'm super optimistic and always positive, and I keep my foot on the gas. So I know the pendulum swings both ways. So just like we were crazy busy and now it's a little bit more quiet, it's going to be crazy busy again at some point. I want to be ready for that.
So it sounds like you are both including your teams and working on the business, not just in the business. Yeah.
It's, again, when you have such a small team, I think it's important from a development. This is the corporate in me. Development and retention. Like I want my number 3 to be my number 2 one day. I want these people to grow in different positions so that I'm only hiring one person. right? I'm just backfilling the newest person and I'm developing that person up through the
Great. How about client experience? How has that changed for you over the last year or so? I'll start with you, Tina.
Well, because we're slowing down, we are working on our client experience again. I think we've just sent out surveys to find out what we can do better and what they loved. And so we're already sort of implementing those changes. But client experience has been a number one for us for a very long time. So that is something that we talk about weekly. That's not something that we talk about because we're slow. You know, every Monday we have a morning meeting and we talk about what is it that needs to get done this week and how are we making our clients feel comfortable, because a lot of them are just nervous about everything, right? It's not just because things are slow or busy. So every time we talk about what needs to be done this week, we talk about how are you going to make your client feel good about it? And then we send our Friday emails so we can wrap up the week and everybody is comfortable. It's not something that we let slide.
Can you
How about-
talk? Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about the Friday email? What does that entail?
It might be aggressive, but I have found that it avoids a lot of random freakouts on the weekends. So on Friday or at the end of the week, they get an email from their lead designer. This is what's happened this week. This is what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. This is what we need from you. And because we bill hourly, this is where we are on hours. We also include an expediting report on what has been purchased. I've been told this might be overkill, so we might scale that back to like once a month, every other week. I'm not sure, but right now they're getting an expediting report. I don't think they read it. I think it's just so that they know that we're doing it, you know, that we're on top of it. And we bold anything we really need an answer on because, you know, they're busy during the week too. And I think just sending it out.
We do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
We call ours the Friday follow-up. It's a little aggressive. and actually during COVID, when projects were taking double, triple, quadruple the time they had in the past, we're like, okay, they probably are like, okay with the Friday emails. But I do think it's important. Gail, to your question, client experience is the bedrock of my business. That is my business. That is to me the most important. The experience that client has with me, I don't care whether I did a VIP consult or whatever, I want them to be like, whoa, that was great. And so we talk consistently about how the client's experience. I try and to my team knows I have this sixth sense about when something is about to pop off with the client. Like they're about to ask us, where are we with it? I need to be ready. I want to be in their inbox before they're in ours. So trying to anticipate those needs is so important. And I think it gives them such a sense of calm and trust, and it keeps down so much static and drama that it's really the thing that's, I would say, the number one focus.
Well, and what I'm hearing here is that you just have so much intention around this, and the intention does come through. And I think your clients sense that from the very beginning. So when you're onboarding a client, do you talk about the process and some of the things that of course you do, but yeah. But what do you do? Just talk through that whole process of how you onboard a client.
Well, onboarding for me begins on discovery. And I do discovery calls because, again, I can hear my people and I need to be able to hear them. I need them to know who I am, and I want to know who they are, and I want to know if we are in sync. There's nuance in that. Sometimes it's one little thing they said that makes me, my antenna goes up, and it's not something I can catch on a survey. I know my clients, they're probably not going to fill out my survey anyway. But that's who I serve. So I've just gotten really good at being able to speak to, this is our process. I want them to know that before I ring their doorbell. I don't want to ring your doorbell if I'm not your person. So you don't even need a consult. So the onboarding for me starts at that very first conversation. This is my process. This is how I work. There's a lot of ways to a pretty room. You might love my Instagram, but you might not like my structured approach. You might want something a little bit more fluid. You might want to come to High Point Market with your designer. I'm probably not that person. So I want to know that before we start going down decorating lane together, and I have to, change course because that's difficult. So I think that being upfront, knowing who you serve, and being able to accurately communicate that at the very beginning is so important. So by the time I get to their house and by the time we sit down and we're talking about onboarding, these are my people. Like, I got y'all because I know who you are and I know I'm cut out to serve you. So I know that's not specifics about my onboarding, but I think it's more important to make sure that you get that conversation about how you work, how you like to work, and how you structure it from the very beginning.
Great. Tina.
I think similarly, I'm similar in that I listen to my intuition quite a bit. So I'll actually know within the first 15 minutes of that phone call if we're a good fit. I will have the rest of the phone call, but I know very early on because you can tell if someone is open and interested. But on that first phone call, I listen to them for 15 minutes and then I explain my process for 15 minutes. And then I send them a proposal. Just how we work, how many hours I think it's going to take, because I also want to know that they understand our design fee before I step into their house. And in that proposal, it has our process. It's, we work 9 to 5. You will not call us on the weekend, and we have these steps and these are the number of meetings we're going to have. And, this is how the team will work with you. You will get your Friday email. You will have your Dropbox. And, if I didn't catch it on the phone call and then they get the proposal, they're not going to want to work with us. We're already not a good fit. Most of the time, I don't need to go to their house. Most of the time through this proposal, the pricing and the process, it gets me a yes or no. So then we have a couple more phone calls. We decide this is great. I'll explain the process again. We sign the contract and then they get an onboarding document, email, and the process is there again, right? These are the meetings. You will not call me on the weekends. All of the things in this document, which we're revising because we have some time now. So we're working on it again. We're adding FAQs, whatever, and they get it again. And then we meet for our discovery meeting and talk about the process again. So we are talking about it every step of the way, so that when we get to design, it's not a surprise. They're not shocked at oh my goodness, we can't see our paint colors until the third meeting. We're all good.
I love that. Well, thank you guys so much. I think it'd be great if we could open up some questions for the audience. And we've got a mic runner coming up. Kristen. She's not a mic runner. She's got a good name. Her name's Kristen. We want to be able to hear everybody.
Okay, so I have a question for Tina. I'm a huge fan of both of yours. I'm actually a huge fan of all four of you. So thank you. This has been really great. So thank you so much. Okay, so my question for Tina was that you said that you bill hourly and that you provide an update in your Friday email, but how often do you actually invoice and how do you do you ever get any pushback on that hourly billing? And if so, how do you deal with that pushback?
So we bill monthly. Okay. There have been times where we've gotten pushback. Those were not ideal clients. But when we send our time billing, we send a tracking report of how many hours were spent, who spent them, what day they spent them, and what they were working on. So if we do get pushback, I'm but you asked us to do this. So, there have been times where I've cut the bill to get rid of people, but most of the time, nobody pushes back because they're seeing it every single week. And then when they get the bill at the end of the month, they're not surprised because they could have said something on week 2.
Squiggle through.
Yes.
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry. My question is for both of you in regards to utilizing software to be able to communicate, because it sounds like you all have a lot of one-on-one contact with your clients. Are they truly utilizing any software that you all are employing for your business, or you all having to do more contact outside of the portal?
No, ours is all through our software. The communication that we do, this is a whole nother panel, but Most of my client communication is done through my operations manager. I established the relationship in the beginning, developed a rapport, do the high level design. Those Friday follow ups don't come from me. The nuance in the middle of the project doesn't come from me. I want them to know my team as well, and so but all of that is through our customer relationships management system. And I think that's where we are today. All the scheduling, all of that, all software.
Ours is through email.
Well, the
But-
email is one thing.
Yeah. No, we don't. I'm scared of the software. But also I think we're all very exhausted of learning new softwares. So we have not figured that out yet. The clients have a Dropbox folder, that we're using. We have Studio Webware for our staff. We've not put the stuff in the portal. I don't want them to see it. We're not there, but everything is in an email, but the lead designer is their point of contact.
Thank you so much for all your experience and sharing with us. My question is following up with those great clients in the past. What does that look like for you? How is that just an email? Is it a little bit more?
For
How do
me?
you? Yeah.
Yeah, actually sent it. Well, I reached out to my copywriter because I wanted the message to be right. I wanted it to be to sound, genuine, and I really was doing it as a service to them because I know them. These are people these are our favorites. Like, take your favorite, not just your past clients, but your favorite past clients. That you're like, oh, we miss them, though, that client. So I wanted it to be really personal and kind of heartfelt. So she suggested, help me with some copy. And it was an email, but I also attached a video. I'm a video girl. Well, a structured video girl, not like I do a Sunday sit down, so it was in that kind of format where it's like, hey, I'm talking to them. Hey guys, just wanted you to know we're offering this new service. We thought of you. We know you never got to your principal bedroom and bath, I just think it's even whether the answer is yes or no, really doesn't matter. Like that reach out. Yes, I'm thinking of you. So when their neighbor is like, we still need to do. Now I'm the referral because it was personal and it was heartfelt. So yeah, it was a video attached to an email.
I think I'm less structured. But I'm talking to them all the time. So I'm not someone who can ask for things. I'm working on it. But they're hearing from me multiple times throughout the year, right? Is it a gift, or is it I thought of you, or I was at market and this thing looks like this thing we bought you, or I know we never got your side table, and they're not going to buy it. Like, I don't actually expect them to say, I really want that side table today. But the fact that I'm talking to them like once a quarter or like multiple times a year, maybe it's on Instagram, they'll respond to something. I'll be like, oh my God, I love that picture of your dog. It helps when I'm saying, oh my God, I really thought of you and we never finished it. Are you ready? Right? Because it's just not my personality to send something formal. I'm more like off the cuff. So that's how we do it. Lots of questions.
Can we take a minute to appreciate Cheryl's kicks?
That's funny.
Those need their own moment.
Wait. I have to tell you this. The structure in me wanted to put my heels on, but I was told to keep these on.
No, I'm glad you did. Okay, this goes back to marketing. We talked a little bit about social and also about in person, but are you doing anything in terms of magazines, newspapers, TV?
I've done TV in the past. It's so hard to quantify, right? The return on some of this stuff. Some of it is just, you don't know. You just don't know. Like, you don't know if somebody saw you on the midday news segment you did 5 years ago. Or if your client is like, oh, I'm going to hire her because she was on the news. Like, you don't know. So you just kind of have to throw it all out there and hope that something comes back. So yes, I am doing actually my first print ad this this year we did. I'm kind of on the fence, but again, that could be because it's very hard to quantify. I probably heard more about that print ad from my trades because than clients saying I found you in the magazine, but my tradespeople were like, "Oh, we saw you in the." But it's probably because it's sitting in their showrooms. It's it's one of those publications, that's home publications, that's kind of everywhere in our domain. But that's valuable too. So yeah, I do those things, and the verdict, I guess, is out on what's the most effective. I know me showing up is probably the thing that continues to return more than anything.
I was I'm sorry.
I have a question for Tina. My process was very, very similar to yours, to where I'd have a conversation, craft a proposal from that conversation, and then go visit the home and see everything in person. What I found is that there's so much scope creep when I actually showed up, and it got me into a little bit of trouble. So now I'm thinking about having a paid consultation first and kind of revamping my process. And I was also just considering every item that I'm planning to source and being very specific. And now I'm thinking about going to a price per square foot approach. And I'm curious of what is your approach, and have you run into trouble with this kind of scope creep, or are you pricing per square foot so that it doesn't matter how many pieces you are sourcing?
Well, we used to do a project fee, and that's when we would get in trouble. So Gail told me not to do that anymore, so I don't do that anymore. So we work hourly, so it really doesn't matter what we're doing because that's our fee. And if they want to add to it, we're just billing our time. I'm not good at boundaries. I'm working on it. So doing the project fee was so hard for me because if we didn't include a bedroom and they're like, "Hey Tina, I just want to take you in here. Can you tell me like what you think about paint color?" I'm not the person that's going to say, "I can't go into your son's bedroom and look at the paint color." Like I want to please them. She is. I'm not. So I had to stop doing it. So now I'm hourly. So if you want to talk in your son's bedroom for 3 hours about the paint color, I can do that because I don't feel bad. I'm not stopping you. I'm still helping you, but you're going to pay for it.
So do you not give them an estimate?
I do, but it's on only what we talked about. So it says like, this is what we talked about and this is how many hours I think
revised
it's gonna
proposal.
take. Yeah. But like it says anything outside of this, hours are going to add. So it's like literally these are the things that we talked about. And I think it's going to take X amount of hours. But if then they're like, "Oh, you spent more time. We didn't talk about your son's paint color." I think Gail can probably answer it better then.
You've got to talk about it. Yes, absolutely. Always try to make sure that you're getting an addendum to your contract. So do not, if you are catching yourself doing that, if you do it one time, they think everything gets to be added for free. So don't start down that road. Make sure you have that conversation. We have a fun.
So really quick, I think both Cheryl and Tina about that, because I'm about to open my portal. And I told a couple of clients, "Can I use you?" I hate to say guinea pig, but we have that relationship. It sounds like, Cheryl, you do have a portal. Tina, you don't. So I guess I just want to know why you didn't open yours and why you did. Because I feel like I'm all over the
different.
place and they're texting my phone and blah, blah, and I just want it in one spot.
Everyone's different,
Yeah.
right? Like we work on email, it works for us. If it's not broken, I'm not going to fix it, right? And my team is not gung ho about technology, right? Like I just got them to accept Slack and Asana. Like I'm not going to ruin their lives with a portal. So if they don't want to do it and I don't want to do it, why are we doing it? But if like it works for her, it keeps her organized, then I think you should do it.
And to be clear, our clients experience our communication in an email format. So for us, it's all in the portal. yes, they have access. We can give them access to pieces of a portal when we need to share documents, but it's just a way for us to streamline communication so that if I'm not the person responsible for the communication and Jen is, I'm not having to crack Jen's Microsoft Outlook to find out what the client said when I can't sleep at 2 a.m., right? I go to the portal, like, because all of it. So it's just, team access to all of it.
I'm also copied on the emails. I don't respond, but I'm copied, so I have peace of mind.
I don't want to be copied.
See, it's different. It's different. I want to read it on my phone when I'm at the grocery store, but I don't respond to anything. So I just know.
I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions.
Okay, thank you. This is fantastic. I love it. I've got all these notes and now I'm trying to think what to ask you, but the Cheryl said I got the job after reaching out to your builders or something, and you the referral process, and you said I got the job. So I thought, okay, great. What was the magic? What did you do to get the job?
I think talking to your builder.
When you were talking at the very beginning, when you were talking about reaching out and referrals. So I thought, okay, I know it's confidence. We need to show confidence that we can do it. But that was a trigger I wanted to find out more. And then with Tina, you said, put out what you want to draw in. If you've had a background of doing one thing and you're transferring to do another, and you don't have a lot of the photos to show what you're wanting to put out, maybe helpful information about, what to do creatively for that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I was a home stager for over a decade, and I've got beautiful photos for real estate marketing things, but not interior design, not much. So
I think so. She was on my panel on Friday, so that's why she's talking about the put out. Because I was like, if you're not happy with what leads you're getting, stop putting those pictures out there and stop putting the information out there. Tell the people what you are doing now. Maybe if you don't have the photos, maybe you're doing videos, right? Like maybe you're like, I'm at market and I really love this sofa and this would be great if we did X, Y, and Z. Like, I think you have to be a little bit creative until you have the photos or the videos to share. So you can do a video at market and talk about how you're designing or you would design with X, Y, and Z, right? You have to kind of figure that out. But don't say that you're a home stager if you don't want to do it anymore.
And I think, Virginia, to answer your earlier question about the reaching out to potential referral partners in the way of builders and GCs and such, is to show up in a way that elevates you above the competition. Like, I was really prepared for that call. Yeah, it was just a call, but it wasn't just a call for me. I prepared all weekend, like put together a deck. It looked really good. I sent it to my mama. But I took it seriously, and I didn't make it a big thing, but I'm like, I'm going to send over this document for us to review on the call. Like, just the extra. A lot of people can win by just showing up well. So I think being prepared and going the extra mile, and I communicated what I needed to get across, but I did it in a way that left with a tangible document that I think that signals to them, oh, she's serious. I can trust that if I refer somebody to her, she's going to take care of them. That makes me look good in turn. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming today. We really appreciate it. Thank you to our panelists.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys are awesome.